Hey, I'm back. There's a squirrel with me somewhere. So it's been a little bit radio silent, and I figured I'd give an update just because a lot of things have changed, and I've been trying to figure out how to address this. It's not easy. I've been agonizing, deliberating over it for months, but I think it's over. I think the project that I started on the land, 6 years ago, is officially by depending on how you look at it, it's over now. Um, So just to give you a brief update on everything that's happened, I was working at the Walmart and it sucked. And fortunately, I got a different job at a nursing home doing maintenance. And then the camp called me back. I'm actually there right now. They're like, Alec, we need you. Can you come back? We'll pay you better. I'm like, okay, sure. And I got a third project in the works with my buddy. So I'm working a lot right now, 16 to 20 hours a day during the week, and anywhere from 8 to 0 on the weekends. So I got my fingers in a lot of pies, and I'm super busy. You might be thinking, Alec, how could you do that and then also run a farm? And the answer to that question is I'm not. I still own the property. I still have 7 sheep, and I think like 4 chickens and a few ducks. But I'm not doing that right now. My buddy Gabe is. I knew essentially the moment I bought that house that this project was essentially going to be done for. Because you don't just buy a house, you buy problems. You got to deal with the problems. A lot of the problems take money to solve. So you got to be you got to have money. So at the end of the day, I guess if you want to put it in that way, that won out. Um, the pragmatic demands of the way things are ordered essentially forced my hand in this way, and honestly, I don't really mind. I don't mind working. It's really not that big of a deal. I like this job in particular because I get to be outside doing cool stuff. The nursing home job's fine. The best part about that is it's a union job, so it's got really good benefits, and it's got a pension, which is crazy because those don't really exist anymore. So I can retire at 53 years old with a full pension, which is going to be an insane amount of money for at that point in my life. I'm going to have everything paid off. I can pretty much do whatever the hell I want. And my goal right now essentially is just to make as much money as possible, so that way, when I get to that point, I can enjoy my life and not have to think about anything or ever work ever again. So that's kind of my goal right now. In terms of the project, the land project, was it a success? Was it a failure? That's a hard thing to say, because in a lot of ways, I feel like it's made my life objectively better. It's made me a better person. I've learned so much about myself and about other people in the world, and I wouldn't trade that for anything. But if you look at it in an objective way, did I build a self-sustaining farm on 40 acres? The answer is no. Um, Honestly, I'm not a great farmer, and that's there's nothing wrong with that. It's not a sin to not be good at farming. At least I don't think so. So I still do. I'm going to do it every occasionally. I still want to grow crops and stuff like that. My buddy will be taking care of the animals, and he's got a lot more time than I do. So it'll be easier for that to be the case. Um, but it's just interesting, the way things all shaked out. Um, I guess the takeaway is if you're unsure about yourself, you're unsure about your position in life, and you want to mix it up, you want to try something different. I did probably not the most, but I did a pretty extreme thing, and I came out of it the other end, understanding everything a lot better. And I still have a lot of things I got to work out personally, but a lot of my insecurities and problems that I came here with don't exist anymore because I essentially completely worked through them by being a fucking animal for 6 years. And it really proved a lot to me about my capabilities. What's possible. Um, it's pleasant. I love northern Wisconsin, especially this time of year. It's beautiful. So I don't really have any complaints. I got to move to a better area. Um, I own property that's appreciated 4 times its value since I purchased it 7 years ago. My friend's got a house, and he just had his second son back in June or July, I forget which. And they're shaping up to do pretty well. It was a little rough there for a bit, but it worked out. And he's going to be able to raise them up, and they'll be able to have access to the farm if he wants to keep doing that. That's really on him at this point. you know, I can throw money at it, but you know, I don't have the time to do a lot of that stuff anymore. But you know, I'm putting the question mark at the end of the end because I don't know. You know, maybe when I get to be 53 years old or sometime in between then, it's a long stretch of time, almost as long as I've been alive already. So, you know, who knows what's going to happen? You know, that's really the takeaway is it's a beautiful and scary thing about life, depending on how you look at it. And I like to look at it in a positive way. You know, there's a big, when it comes to any question about life, it's, you know, who knows? You know, maybe 10 years from now, I'm going to have a big, you know, I've built myself a place on the property and I'll get back into farming and I won't have to work as much. Who knows? Maybe I'll win the lottery. I don't play the lottery, but maybe I'll win it somehow. Who fucking knows? You know, there's a million things that could happen. Some of them good, some of them bad. You don't really know. If there's anything to take away from this whole project, the experiences that I've had being here, and the summation of everything that I've done, just read Ecclesiastes by good old Solomon Grundy. It's not Solomon Grundy, King Solomon. I know who Solomon Grundy is. Uh, yeah, I mean, really, if you want a summary of everything, just read that. It was written by a guy that's much smarter than me, and I don't really have anything to add to it either. I might continue doing that study. We'll see. I don't know. I don't have time, like I said. I'm taking a quick break right now to record this video, just because I thought it'd be fair. Because you know, if people think I'm still doing that, I'm not really. Um, I'm actually out more than I am at the property, and I'm working on setting up an apartment with a friend of mine that owns an apartment block in Bessemer. So actually, this may be the first winter I'm not living out in the middle of nowhere with nothing. You know, I might have regular amenities. I've had tangential access to regular amenities. You know, doing everything that I've been doing here, going back and forth and all that shit. So, for all intents and purposes, the project is over. You know, if I feel inclined to do more, I will. We'll have to see. You know, you never know what the future holds. But I just figured I'd give you an update. Have a good day.